Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Today we want to talk about the Suicide Squad reveal and what the implications of the choice of poster or the choice of character actually may mean. So I've been talking to a few friends and some of you here in the audience, and it seems a lot of what people are wanting is very close in regard to what they would like to see from the Suicide Squad game. Now, I've heard from a very good buddy of mine who's really big on comics that he would prefer, like, if this game was a game that had Justice League in it, whether it's you fighting against the Justice League because something has happened. Maybe, all the members of the Justice League become a bizarro form of themselves. And if you look very closely at this Superman, or Superman-esque figure, you can see a little bit of a cloud in front of his eyes. So perhaps something has happened to him. This is not the Superman that we know if you follow, any of the Superman storylines or lore. Now, another audience member here, various artists, also proposed the possibility that this may be Ultraman. Now, I went and Googled Ultraman because I'm not really well versed in my comics, so you guys are the ones teaching me a lot about this stuff. And Ultraman is like some random thing, kind of an archetype of an evil Superman. So it seems like there's that theme from a lot of members of the community that are, basically saying we would like to see the Justice League or a boss type character from a member or members of the Justice League that the Suicide Squad have to go after. And this is what I feel is really interesting about this choice of the poster from Rocksteady. Because if they've put this here, if you think Suicide Squad, I mean, from all indications, a Suicide Squad mention is most likely going to trigger in your mind Harley Quinn or Deathstroke. I mean, those are just two characters that really come to mind whenever you think about a Suicide Squad. Now, why would a member of the Justice League or a Bizarro or Superman-esque style, character of the Justice League be used to advertise it? And why would there be a target on him? I think this is basically cluing, the viewers into what the implications of this may be. And even better, a buddy of mine was talking, saying, what if the main boss that you had to take on was Batman? Now, one of the things that we haven't really explored in gaming, especially the fact that we've had, 4 Batman Arkham games, is the possibility of Batman himself being a boss. Now, think about it. Batman is supposedly one of the smartest of the superheroes. He's taking on different kinds of threats, even as a human. And him taking on these kinds of threats as a human being and being successful shows that his style as a superhero is not just all about brute force or whatever. Yes, he has that brute force aspect, but he's not just, brawn. He's also brains. And if you had to take on Batman in a game like this is definitely something that would really be interesting for the entire internet or the entire Arkham, family or fans to be able to experience. And then you want to port, this same progression or this same storyline and do the reverse. Some people are even, proposing, what if the possibility of you to play as the Justice League, perhaps in some other mode, is made available? This is not out of the question for Rocksteady to take villains and actually use them as playable characters. I mean, we can line up examples, and I will do so in Arkham Asylum. You can play as the Joker in the combat maps. In Arkham Knight, you can play as what's his name? The Arkham Knight himself, or you can put on the Red Hood, costume and play as him. And you can also play as Harley Quinn, who are, in a sense, villains themselves. You can even play as, some other characters that are gray areaed. Catwoman, you can play as Azrael. Catwoman, you could even play in basically Arkham City. And you can also play in Arkham Knight as well. You can also play as Deathstroke in Arkham Origins. Now, this is not a Rocksteady game, but you see the formula being propounded in these games, and you can definitely say, yes, if Rocksteady is doing this game, then it's not ruled out of the question that we'll probably be able to play with a wide slew of DC characters, ranging from Suicide Squad members all the way down to the Justice League members. So this is something that really sparks a lot of interest with a lot of people in the community. I myself will be very happy to even play just a little bit as a bad Bizarro Superman. I've made multiple videos talking about Superman games on this channel and how I feel like, you know, the character has been so underrepresented in video games that it seems like it's kind of time to start to bring this character to light in video games, because Batman has basically taken over perhaps the last decade when it comes to superhero games. Yes, I recognize and I understand that Spider-Man games have been there, but none of the Spider-Man games other than Marvel Spider-Man was able to meet the quality of some of the Arkham games that were released. If you look at Arkham City and if you look at Arkham Knight, these two games were developed pretty much, you know, on a very different environment. Let me say that, a time where, you know, superhero games were coming from the PS2 era and they were very low quality, and, you know, Rocksteady was able to take these gems and polish them and actually make something pretty good, even to the point where they inspired the makers of Marvel's Spider-Man game, because those guys pretty much say it that a lot of their inspiration was taken from the way the Arkham games were actually done. So I think this is a very good move, a very solid announcement, and definitely the studio that you want to put the leg forward if you were counting on some studio to launch, you know, this new, I would say, what would I call it? Kind of the new line of Warner Brothers games for a new console generation. I don't know if any of you may have heard me say this before. Warner Brothers likes to front load a lot of their releases at the beginning of the console generation. I mean, if I look back at even the PlayStation 4, it's quite evident that they basically launched Arkham Knight as one of the first few games to be released around the same time. So I'm not really surprised that they're actually wanting to even get much more ahead of this by putting this Suicide Squad game in the discussion of gamers alike. So at the end of the day, I want to hear what you guys think. I mean, you know, I read your comments. I mean, many of you will probably end up hearing your discussions with me in a video, because, you know, that's actually much more interesting to me, because your own take is something that I like to explore, because there's so much that I don't know, and there's so much that I'm surprised by, even here in the comic world. And you guys do a very good job at pointing out some aspects that I don't necessarily pay attention to, especially the Ultraman aspect. You know, I mean, I was thinking, you know, perhaps Bizarro, but I never heard about Ultraman. And, you know, this is something where even some of you are talking about Justice League members even being available as playable characters. That's something that's actually pretty good. So I guess at the end of the day, you guys do provide some wonderful insight, and I am absolutely interested to hear your insight and what you think about all of this. The choice of this poster is quite sinister. It's also well meticulously done, because it sparks more conversation than just putting a Harley Quinn picture here or a Deathstroke picture. A Deathstroke would have sold too, but man, nothing more than what fans have been talking about regarding Superman. And then we go ahead and we see something from Rocksteady depicting just that. All right, that's pretty much my video for today. Thank you so much for your time and audience. I hope you guys comment. I hope you guys, you know, engage in the conversation, and hopefully we'll see in another video pretty soon. Peace out.